Hello there, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Sunday Live. It's your friendly neighborhood brother from another mother, bringing you some encouragement, some insights along your mental, emotional, and relationship health journey. So glad to have you all here today. If you're having a wonderful day, then welcome. This will be a even further encouragement to your life and your journey. If you're not having that and you're struggling, you're spiraling, you're spinning, you're anxious, you're disturbed, you are confused, then you've still arrived at a great place. If you've enjoyed these resources and broadcasts and Q&As, Bible studies, materials, do us a favor, click that like and subscribe. That helps us out a whole lot. And you can go over to markdejesus.com, where I am doing my best to create a treasure chest of organized resources and materials for your healing journey. It's all about mental and emotional and relationship health, which is what my passion is, equipping believers in these areas. And much of it has to do with obsessive compulsiveness, guilt, shame, healing from trauma, heart healing, learning to get rooted in the Father's love, growing in grace. There's so many topics, but you can go right over to my topics page to find out more about that, where you can just type in markdejesus.com/topics, and you can look there. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend you go there. And if you are on the obsessive compulsive kind of side of things, please be sure to check out my OCD help page, because there are so many topics and areas that I cover within that to help you along the journey. Yes, this is a journey. You're going to need a journey mindset when it comes to mental health. You're going to need a journey mindset when it comes to emotional and relationship health. And just so you know, we're actually in a journey mindset with Jesus Christ. And that is a beautiful thing. We are growing in His grace, growing in His love. Many of us realize we were never rooted in it. And we're learning to grow deeper in what we weren't equipped in. And it's a beautiful place to do that. And if you're new to the channel, you can also take advantage. I have a free ebook you can get, Experiencing God's Love as Your Father. Now, if you want to go buy the hardcover, you can. You want to get the audiobook, you can. But I have it available for free. All you got to do is just go to the website, click on that big old banner there, sign up for our email list, and you can find out more about that. So, a bunch of things we're going to cover today, one of them being our Bible study. I'm going to get into Philippians. We're going to talk about burnout. We're going to talk about working yourself to death. We're going to talk about God's mercy within that. And this passage of Scripture has some nuance to it that I pray as I share, it'll turn some light bulbs on and help you to see what you're going through a redemptive lens and a powerful lens. I'll also be taking your questions. Go to markdejesus.com/questions. And I need to let you all know of something up front. Yes, you don't have to tell me, please keep my name anonymous when you post a question in the public questions page, because it says there on the page that we keep those names anonymous. Many people write in their question, please keep my name anonymous. And it's a signal to me you're not reading the form at the top, because there's two things I really like to highlight. One is, yes, we keep all the names anonymous in the questions, in the YouTube and Rumble, Facebook, and these Sunday Lives, Wednesday Lives, and so forth. But two, many of the questions travel around things that I've already talked about. And there's a weird phenomenon that happens. It just seems to happen. Right after I talk about a topic, I will get questions on that topic but not in a way of like follow-up. It's like, you got to go listen to the last episode. I just did this. I just talked about it. So keep that in mind. Do a little searching. It may not be the exact words you type in, but my goal and my work here is to, through long form discussion, talking through things, allow it to wash over your heart, because this needs teaching, reteaching, equipping. None of this is a quick answer, quick fix kind of thing. And no worries for those of you who've sent repeated questions, or like you sent in a question I've already addressed, or things like that. Because we just find what we feel will be helpful in that. But that would help fine tune, because my goal is to resource you. In everything, I want to resource you. I know many people crash land in here. Have I committed the unpardonable sin? Am I marrying the wrong person? Am I destined for hell? Was I never really saved to begin with? Mark, what's this passage in Romans? What's this passage in Philippians? I'm spinning about it, right? And I enjoy addressing them. But we do our best to try to land the plane a bit, so that you can now get off of the crash landing and get into now this walking journey of healing and freedom that you can embrace. There is hope. Things can get better, but there's a different approach that we got to take to that. So that's my heart in the question and answer, and I'll continue to do that. It's a joy for me to be able to get in the trenches of stuff you struggle with. So I'll get to that in just a moment, but can't do any of that until I bring in the love of my life, all that I cling to. She means more than this world to me. And this week we will be celebrating 20 years of marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, Melissa De Jesus is here, and she is in the house. Welcome.
Hey!
Welcome, my darling.
Woo!
Happy anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Happy. It's
It is amazing.
Tuesday marks 20 years.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we got all kinds of stuff going on. I'm trying to get my work through my health issues, and we got all kinds of things.
We always have something.
We always have something.
Yeah, we do.
And recently we had an incident with our daughter.
Yep. We started the summer, the end of the school year. She broke her finger throwing a football with Max. And then on Monday night or Sunday night?
Monday afternoon.
Monday afternoon. She was doing a dance she saw online, and Mom, she fell. I think I heard bones crack, and we're like, "You're fine. You probably sprained it."
Yep.
Yeah. Next day wasn't good. So she has broken her foot.
Yeah.
So she is in a boot and crutches for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
In school.
And has to start school on Thursday.
Yep.
So we're all up in that now of how to get to and fro and drop off and pick up and getting to her classes. And do we get a wheelchair? And she needs help because she has a giant backpack with all of her things. And
Yep.
Yeah.
It's something.
It's always. It never just goes smoothly. So, yeah.
Well, I think that it's helpful for people to understand that life has a way of bringing that. You know, you kind of think like, what am I doing wrong? God, why me? What's happening? You get overwhelmed. And I think many of us were not prepared for the equipping of, resistance is going to happen. It's going to be tough. Tough things will happen. And there are opportunities to grow and learn, and it doesn't make it any easier.
No,
it's been really, really challenging.
It is interesting though, because I do feel like we fall under that like thing comes in threes rule, or not rule, but what do they call that? Like an old wives' tale kind of thing. That stuff comes in threes. Like we've had so much of that. We have one thing happen, then another thing, then another thing. Yep. Like that seems to follow us. It is an interesting.
My pastor that I worked for many years ago, he had a superstitious kind of thing that funerals would happen in threes because the church would go through like it wasn't just one person passed away. There's like 3 different people, and there's like 3 different funerals happening, and so it's more of a cognitive bias that gets developed. You start to look for a pattern, and then you look for verification of the pattern.
True.
Of it,
Yeah.
It's not necessarily true, but you kind of go,
right, because we always have something happening.
like even what you said, something happens. You goes, oh, it's always something.
Yes, very true. Oh, Max is in the chat. Hey, Max.
What's going on, buddy?
We love when he joins.
I know. We should have just had him come in here.
We should have.
Well,
He's so cute.
You're potentially going to be
supposed to be. Abby and I are Abby's 16 this year, and we were going to kind of try to do a little mother-daughter little getaway for the weekend.
Yep.
Well, that's supposed to be in a month.
Right.
So we just don't know.
If it happens, I'm going to have Max guest host with me.
Yes.
So he will be there with me.
Correct.
And there's another weekend you may be away too.
Visiting a friend. Yes.
We'll see.
Yep.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We
shall see.
I may change things up and put them to work.
I think you should. Max is always fun when he's in. He gets relaxed, finds his lane, and then he comes alive. It's pretty awesome.
Okay, so church lady.
Oh.
She has a few things she wants to share.
Okay.
And
I feel like we haven't heard from her in a while.
Yeah. It's a brief one, but she wanted to come in and just say a little words. You want to come in?
And they're, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, sometimes it takes me a minute to grab the mic from Brother Mark because, I got to take control of things here. So here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I first want to say congratulations. Happy anniversary to Mark and Melissa. I want to give you a nice church lady. Well. So you got married for 2 decades. Biggity deal going on here. And I just must say, I can't move on without saying you lasted longer than I thought you would. I'm not going to lie. When I first met the two of you, because I knew you from the way back in the Dizzy. I remember, Mark was like that dude spinning round, get it round. And he was like a merry-go-round with his spinning. He was spinning more in his mind than Cassandra twirls in prophetic worship, and she twirls a lot. So, meanwhile, Miss Melissa, Lady Melissa, I know you be in your head so much, girl. You be checking if you had jelly and peanut butter for lunch instead of peanut butter and jelly.
True.
Girl, do you know what the difference is? Nothing. Nothing. What's wrong with you, girl? The jelly, peanut butter, honey butter, jelly, did I? Just put it on some bread, eat it, and move on. Anyways, the two of you are pieces of work, you know what I mean? You're like 2 hurricanes spinning towards each other. You about to be a Cat 5 storm up in this place. But I gotta say, but God. Bless the Lord. The two of you found a way. I don't know. I'm still scratching my head. The way you love each other and you laugh and you have fun together because y'all had some serious you put the O and C in OCD, that's for sure. But here you are, 20 years later. But I can't help. I have to give a church lady treatment to this because do you know how many marriages I have seen fall apart in that time? Let me tell you about a couple of them. There's that couple in my old church, the one I had many troubles with. Let's call this couple the matching sweater couple because they wore matching sweaters to church every Sunday like they were in some kind of cult. And I don't get the deal because they were ugly sweaters. So not only was it an ugly sweater, but 2 ugly sweaters. You think the church lady is legalistic? Though, get the 2 of these. These 2 got divorced because, check it out, he wanted to watch football on Sundays and she wanted to watch HGTV. They were both condemning each other for their particular TV preference and their marriage fell apart. It probably didn't help that I told them they were actually both going to hell for watching TV on the Lord's Day. I can't understand why my Christmas cards to them kept coming back return to sender, but I do digress. Now, then there's the Instagram couple, the bright and shiny, we love each other, smooch, and everything's great. I just love my husband. He does all these great things for me. And my wife, she does all these things and she's so wonderful. Perfect marriage every single day. But I heard through Sister Patricia that they don't even have real conversations. They haven't had a heart-to-heart in like 5 years. They were just performing for the online algorithm. They were creating scenes and curating and setting up lights and going ready and action about the Christian life. And then when the cameras went off, it's like they went in 2 different directions. Honey, that's not a marriage. That's a brand you're trying to create here. When the camera was off, Beatrice, now she told me they don't even speak to each other. It's like they're just co-workers, that's about it. Now, Beatrice needs to mind her own business, but who am I telling her, right? But anyways, but to make matters more confusing, when they got divorced, they announced it on Instagram like it was another happy story. They're like, we're very amicable in this divorce. We are still friends, praise the Lord. I'm like, you lying Instagrammers, you phony balonies, you filthy heathens. You're so amicable and friendly, then go work the marriage out, please. Like, what is this all about? Unfortunately, though, with that fury and unction I was feeling, I went to their front door to give them a rebuke. Unfortunately, another cease and desist notice was sent to me, which as they were escorting me away, I yelled back, add it to the pile of restraining orders I already have. Anyway, Brother Mark, back to you. No marriage is perfect. If they say they are, they lying. They're just lying. But you've encouraged me in my healing journey to do the work because I'm on my own journey now. It's not about looking good to people anymore, but the real work. The real work. So you and lovely lady Melissa keep showing up, keep growing, keep loving each other, keep working through the hard conversations. You don't have to perform for anybody because you know you want a real marriage, and I do too. I do too.
Oh,
With the church gentlemen. Yes, I said it. I said it. Bubbles are bubbling. Percolation is percolating. And waves are waving. So things are happening along the way. So we will keep you tuned into what the glory of the Lord is doing in this place. So Mark, Brother Mark, Reverend Mark, Bishop Mark, Prophet Mark, Father Mark, you really love your wife. You really love your life. You love your life. You love, if I can get my words out, you love your wife. Wife and your life. You love your wife and your life. I think I need to get a life. So anyways, that's the truth. And that's no cap. Know what I'm saying? No cap. As my daughter would say. As my daughter would say, did I say that right? No cap means you're telling the truth. I'm still learning this Gen Z lingo because apparently my whole vocabulary, according to Prudence, she says I'm giving toxic boomer energy. I don't know what that means, but apparently I need to read the room and understand the assignment and what I'm giving, whatever that means. But Sister Melissa, let me just say, you beautiful queen. You do actually respect your man, your husband. You live it out. You don't just tolerate him. You love him. Girl, I grew up with women barely tolerating everybody in their lives. So I appreciate this. You choose him, you love him, and you keep choosing him every day. And that is, in my opinion, the sickest thing ever. As Abby would say, wait, is that still how Gen Z talks? Does sickest mean the best? Is that the right generation? I don't even know. I can't keep up with this vocabulary. It changes faster than my discernment of false teachers. But anyways, what y'all guys beautiful, bless you, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Things like that, you know, yes, I speak in tongues over you and all that kind of stuff. Prophesy, you will have double portion, double years, double, play double Dutch or whatever, or what have you, double portion or nor portion or whatever. But you know what I mean, you know, two people. You know, I have a word for you, though, that you will be two people that as the years grow, you're going to be two people parked in the handicap section. What's going on with your health issues, Mark? What's happening here? All the ailments you got going? I'm just kidding. I see grace. I see love. I see the Father's love. And I say, keep keeping it real. Love your wife through every step. And Lady Melissa, keep that love and respect flowing because it is clearly seen. That's what I'm going to live in. That's what I'm going to be. That's the kind of marriage that breaks these generational patterns, these family patterns. And can I just say, 20 years with the same person? 20 years with the same person? No cap. That's bussin'. That's bussin'. Did I say that right? Did I say that correctly? Abby says that outfit is bussin', and I thought she was talking about a bus was arriving, but apparently that means good. Yes, your marriage is bussin'. It's giving healthy energy. It's serving grace and truth. Yes. Unlike that sweater couple, you are giving, the sweater couple's giving divorce bitter energy. And now one of them, check this out, one of them has to alternate which Sundays they watch football because they share custody of the remote control. But I digress. Brother Mark and Melissa, I want to say is I'm proud to be your sister from another mister. You have softened the fallow ground of my heart that could not be broken with any man's sledgehammer. Only God's love could do that. You're breaking fakeness off of me. But let me tell you something, Brother Mark. If you ever get frustrated with Lady Melissa, don't even think about coming to me for relationship advice because I will rebuke you with a fury of 1,000 suns and throw my titanium chancla right at your head. So, you are blessed to have her, so don't forget it. And you better act like it. No cap. Anyway, Congratulations on your anniversary. I will soon be providing updates on my relationship progress as we do our best to walk one step at a time towards marital bliss. So, happy 20, y'all. Thank you very much.
That is awesome. Wow. Thank you, church lady. I received those words.
She meant it from her heart. So
I felt that. I think she did. She's learning. She's growing. Her arc has been amazing.
Yeah, but she'll keep
receive those words.
She'll keep it straight.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you say hello to everyone?
Of course.
And give everyone a good greeting.
Well, hello to everybody on Rumble. Hello, Mr. Janata. How are you guys doing this weekend? Facebook. Thank you to everybody that tunes in over on Facebook. Hi, Faith Perry. Thank you so much for the anniversary wishes. Appreciate y'all. All right, let me zoom up in YouTube. Oh, it cut off the front top, I think. Okay. Let me see. Hi, Benjamin Webb. How are you? And welcome, Gloria. Hi, Gloria Helms. Welcome. Olvin and Loami. How's it going, y'all? Wham! 1984. I was doing my workout today, and I had a little bit of George Michael in my playlist. Okay, HS. Hi, HS. Hi, Marcy. How we doing? Lenny. How you guys doing this weekend? Judy Williams. Hi, Judy. See, Dylan. Hi, Dylan. Anthony. Mojo. What's going on, Mojo? Mike Hill. Angelo. Hey, Amelia. Hi, Amelia. See, Derek. Hi, Derek. Hi, Sue Horn. Anthony, what's going on? Stop, drop, and pray. That's a cute. I like that username. That's really cute. Ben Action Photos. Hello, sir. Let's see. Can I get a yeehaw? Yeehaw. Howdy. How's it going? Timmy with music. Hi, Timmy. Cash Money. Hi, Cash Money. Can I get a... I already said, can I get a yeehaw? That one's so good.
Cash money. That's what needs to be in the offering, baby.
Hi, Stella. Stella. Our lovely Stella. How you doing, my dear? I hope all is well. I can never say this name. It's, what is it? M-E-J-T-E-S. How would you say that, Boo? M-E-J.
M-E-J.
T-E-S-T-O-W-Y.
I ain't got the first clue, honey.
Well, I spelled your name out, so hey! Hi, Aubrey. Let's see. Amorge. Myrta. Hi, Myrta. Night in Battle. Let's see. All right, I'm going to zoom down, yo. Let me go down all the way down here. Okay. Seema Nader. Hello. Jess Flowers. What's going on? Super Caregiver. Hello. Rox. Lusanda. Joseph. Golden Heart Faith. Hello. Let me see. Kay. Hi, Kay. Tobes. Listen, y'all. There's a lot of names here. If I missed you, I'm sorry I missed you. Welcome, and we're so glad to have you with us today.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Shoulder shake. All right, my love.
Yes, sir.
And get into some Bible study. How about that?
Yes, I would love it.
And you can keep an eye on any questions or stuff like that. I had to clean out my glasses. I had a bunch of smudges on it.
Yep.
So I couldn't find the one that we used. Do you have one?
I do not, sir.
Okay.
That's a big problem in our house is the eyeglass cleaners.
Well, we have a special one that is
the cloths.
Is a cloth that's like the best thing out there. So
yeah,
we got a bunch of them.
They're Norwex cloths.
Yes.
Okay.
And so the problem is if it gets removed from one area to another, now that area doesn't have it. And I usually have one here.
Well, you're famous for stealing them. Mark steals them. Like I'll have one in my purse. I have one in the car. The next thing I know, they're all gone because Mark will take them and put them in his pocket.
I will admit, I'm a thief.
You are.
But
I don't remember taking out of here because I think someone
Max
might have
Max did it. I think
might have used it. But anyways, I got it as best I can.
Nice.
So, anyways, let me get into this, and then we'll deal with more questions later. I got a stack here, and we'll keep an eye out for super chats as well too.
Excellent.
So, fantastic. All right, everyone. Today we're going to get into Philippians as we've been taking a journey. And we're learning how to develop an overcoming mindset. And that's what Philippians is really bringing out. And Paul did the work of his writing is amazing. Of course, God worked through him and the Holy Spirit brought inspiration, but there's just great nuance in understanding different mindsets and how they're applied. And so today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about burnout. We're going to talk about working yourself to death kind of thing and how the body of Christ responded, God's mercy in the midst of it. And if you'll take in context of this, because most people, when they read this passage, they kind of just go down one channel or another. And if we can see it in context, it can actually be really refreshing and encouraging for many of us that have either been in seasons of burnout, have had health issues, and our lifestyle wasn't helping it. This would be a great exhortation for you. And seeing Paul's mindset and how he handled this. So let's look into this. I'll read the New King James, and then I'll read the English Standard Version. Philippians 2:25. Yet I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, and fellow soldier, but your messenger and the one who ministered to my need, since he was longing for you all and was distressed because you had heard that he was sick. For indeed he was sick almost unto death, but God had mercy on him, and not only on him, but on me also, that I should have sorrow upon sorrow. Therefore I sent him the more eagerly, that when you see him again, you may rejoice, and I may be less sorrowful. Receive him, therefore, in the Lord with all gladness, and hold such men in esteem, because for the work of Christ he came close to death, not regarding his life, to supply what was lacking in your service towards me. I've thought it necessary. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me go back here. Oh, yeah. That's the end of that. So let me go back in the English Standard. Verse 25. I thought it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother and fellow worker and fellow soldier, and your messenger and minister to my need. For he has been longing for you all and has been distressed because you heard that he was ill. Indeed, he was ill, near to death, but God had mercy on him. And not only on him, but on me also, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow. I am the more eager to send him, therefore, that you may rejoice at seeing him again, and that I may be less anxious. I am the more eager to send him, therefore, that you may rejoice at seeing him again, and that I may be less anxious. So receive him in the Lord with all joy and honor such men, for he nearly died for the work of Christ, risking his life to complete what was lacking in your service to me. So let's look at this. And we'll get to who Epaphroditus is. But in the previous passage that we looked at last time we were in Philippians, Paul previously expressed honestly his discovery that he couldn't find people who were like Timothy. And he expresses his love for Timothy, his appreciation. And we talked about that because there are many people who they would only seek their own, they didn't sincerely care for people, and they lacked character. In the midst of this, Paul said, out of necessity, he sends Epaphroditus. And there's a mixture of things going on in this that are worth noting. And it's going to be important that you look at this passage with nuance. So we're going to look at this step by step. Verse 25, yet I considered it necessary to send you Epaphroditus, my brother, fellow worker, and fellow soldier, but your messenger and the one who ministered to my need. So who is this Epaphroditus? Well, the Philippian church sent Epaphroditus to Paul, carrying a financial gift, and he was probably staying to help meet Paul's need during imprisonment. Now, we do see his name mentioned in Philippians 4:18. You can look that up for yourself, where Paul thanks the church for the gift they sent from Epaphroditus, confirming he was the one who physically carried their financial support to Paul. This shows the beauty of how the church operated in their support to one another, in meeting the needs, because that's how the early church record shows. They just met one another's needs, a lot of it financial or supply of what they needed. And so in that same way, anyone who's a teacher, anyone who's helping them, they just made sure those needs were supplied. And Paul was greatly appreciative of it. And so while there, Epaphroditus became critically ill, as we're going to see later on in this passage. But what we see here in this verse is that Paul considers him a brother. He calls him a brother. And this is so important because Paul uses terminology of someone he walks alongside with. He doesn't use his authority as an apostle in a way of lording it over him or establishing his portfolio or using a power move or some way to lift himself up, as many do today with their titles and roles, but he speaks and relates to him as a brother. And furthermore, he uses what we translate as fellow. It's alongside of, it's co-laboring, co-working. I'm a fellow worker with him. I'm working with him as he is with me. I'm a fellow soldier. We're soldiers in this, and we're soldiers together. We are bonded together in this. It's a very healthy and it's a very honoring way that he describes Epaphroditus. And he also says, and he's your messenger, coming from Philippi to Paul and vice versa. And he's saying he's here to minister to my need. So there's great appreciation for his labor and for his work. Let's go into the next verse now. Since he was longing for you all. So let's bring the picture. I want to paint the picture of what's happening here. Here's a guy he appreciates, fellow worker, someone who's just helping to meet the need of what was taking place here. And he says, Epaphroditus is longing for you all. Those of you who are in Philippi, he has great affection for you. That word longing is interesting because when you look it up, it means greatly desire or even to dote upon, intensely crave. Now, that craving could be something that's good or it could be something that's forbidden. It could be a craving to something the Bible, clearly forbids. Earnestly desiring, greatly long after, to pursue with love. It can also mean to lust or harbor forbidden desire. But when I did a search of this word, I couldn't find it really being used in that kind of way. I could have missed something. But the predominant usage of this word longing was all good. It was just great things. Relational longing, desire, and so understand his affection to the church, how much Epaphroditus loved his body and missed them, is a good thing. And for those of you that spin, I don't know, do I love this person more than I love God? There's a lot of spinning that goes on in my world of those kind of questions because we don't see the beauty of actually having just longing for brothers and sisters to have that bond and that love and that affection is a good thing because that's how we grow in the love that God has for us. Okay, so in that, he was distressed, it says. And so we got to understand this word distressed. It says he was distressed because you had heard that he was sick. And that word means to be troubled, to have great distress or anguish, even heaviness. It can mean depressed. And from what I've seen, this seems to be the strongest word in the New Testament that communicates depression. Let me say that again. This seems to be the strongest word in the New Testament that communicates depression. So this was a very overall overwhelming heaviness, load emotionally that he's carrying here. So what I have to do is have to look at this and go, okay, why the distress? Let's understand that. On one hand, Epaphroditus has a longing for his body, the church body, his home base, his people. He's missing them. He's longing for them. He longs to be with them, and he has those feelings. That can cause distress right there, and we all understand that feeling. But he's also sick, and this is a very vulnerable time in his journey. But here's the distress. He seems to be more distressed about the fact that they know he's sick and feels the stress of them possibly worrying about him. Is this making sense? Because how many of you struggle with this and could relate to these emotions? You go through health issues, but you become more concerned about how it's impacting those you love, your spouse, your kids, or maybe your friends or your brothers and sisters in Christ. You become more concerned about your health issues taking a toll on your loved ones where you don't want them to worry excessively about you and you don't want to be a bother. Now, this is normal. It's a normal thing to go through and a normal thing to feel. We also need to understand that it can take attention off of your need to take care of yourself and let yourself rest and heal. This is true for where Epaphroditus was, and it is something we all have to learn and be aware of in our journey. We can be so concerned about others, we simply neglect to take care of ourselves. And especially in times of sickness, burnout, and emotional heaviness. Epaphroditus is experiencing all of that. His sickness was so intense. It was to the extent that he was at the point of death. And we see that here in this passage I'm bringing into center stage. For indeed he was sick almost unto death, but God had mercy on him, not only for him, but on me also, lest I should have sorrow upon sorrow. Sick almost unto death. This was a sickness that could have brought him to die. This was not a passing cold or some minor ailment. It was serious. We do not know what the sickness was, and that doesn't matter. But it was a serious health issue. From reading this passage, there's a combination of things that we need to understand here. Epaphroditus got some kind of sickness, but we can also note that with all the travel and excessive serving he was doing, this could cause a great toll on him physically that could make sickness worse. Now, we don't know if the overwork and travel caused the sickness, but we can probably infer that the intensity of his work did not help his health issues at the time. But regardless of what got him to this point, in the midst of this, the Bible says, but God had mercy on him. God had mercy on Epaphroditus. Paul says this took place in the distressing set of circumstances. Paul writes that God shows his compassionate heart, not a response of shame, condemnation, or some guilt trip that many of us can get locked into, where things can get off course, but God responds in this moment with compassion. In the midst of the suffering, in the midst of the struggle, in the midst of being sick. The appreciation for God's mercy is really important here. Because in our burnout, in our health issues, in stuff that comes up in our life where we feel limited, we can condemn ourselves very easily and beat ourselves up. But we really need to pause and appreciate that in our limitations, in our struggles, and even our burnout, that God's mercy is speaking to you, showing that he's here with a compassionate heart to you today. What I don't see, and this will challenge some charismatics and Pentecostals, but what I don't see Paul writing in this, he says Epaphroditus is sick, and he was sick almost to death. I don't see Paul writing, so I prayed for healing on him, and boom, he's all better now. He points to a different process. He becomes aware of God's mercy in the time of sickness, which then leads Paul to say, I'm sending him back home. It's time to go back home and recover. Mercy was there for Epaphroditus, but he had to make a conscious decision to receive that mercy and go home to recover. Now, there's another interesting thing that is here. And if you really, really look at it, and you took it out of context, you could almost feel like Paul's being selfish, because he says, God has mercy on him, but he also had mercy on me. And this is the honest reality. Paul's like, his sickness is burdensome to me. It's creating distress for me. He says sorrow upon sorrow. In the ESV, he says anxiety. It's creating a sense of anxiety on me. Wait, this is Apostle Paul admitting to this. Yes, because they're relationally bonded. And it's understandable that we have these emotions. And so Paul expresses his gratitude that God had mercy on Epaphroditus because he cared for him, but also knowing Paul's going, I've been carrying a lot of sorrow. And he recognized this would have been sorrow on top of sorrow that would have weighed him down even more. This is honest, emotional recognition that Paul is bringing forth. The emotional toll that the journey had on him was great. I pray that as in my Bible teaching, you can help to see the emotional bandwidth of what's taking place here. Because every time I hear these things, they're just kind of preaching through it, and they don't get into the world of it. This is a very honest thing for Paul to express, because the emotional toll he's been going through with imprisonment, with resistance, with chains, with divisive people, with opposition, he's got quite a burden that's stacking up. And on top of that, Epaphroditus, who's the one guy he can send here, he's sick. Thank you, God, for your mercy. And so in that, he has a grateful heart to God's mercy within this moment of suffering. in this moment of sickness. So, verse 28, therefore I sent him the more eagerly. So because of all this, he's got to go home. He's got to go. He's got to go home, that when you see him again, you may rejoice and I may be less sorrowful. So we see three things here. You got to go home and heal and recover. You got to go home. And two, to rejoice at the reunion with his community. Why? Because they miss you, Epaphroditus, and seeing your tribe is part of healing. Seeing your loved ones, your community, and being connected to them, reunited with them, is part of not only emotional healing, not only spiritual healing, but even physical healing. And Paul, number three, he's being honest about it. He's like, this is helping me out because this is stressing me out, and I'm thankful for God's mercy in this. I just love the realness of this. Paul doesn't say, okay, Epaphroditus, thank you for all your work. You're sick. God has mercy on you. Now get back to work. That's what a lot of people would do today. Paul's heart is recovery, restoration, reunion with those in his home church body, and rest. It's like he's saying, you know how we, as those of us in America, or maybe you can apply this in your own country where you live, it's like a soldier who's been fighting in the military. They fought hard in war, now they've come home. We say, we honor you for your work and sacrifice. We rejoice that you're now home. Now it's time for you to take a transition into recovery. And this needs to be an intentional mindset, as recovery takes time, adjustment, oftentimes equipping. For most Christians I talk to, they were never taught this. They live in a cycle of performance-based living, which is give, 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 with pressure, no room for recovery and rest, which leads to burnout and a crash. And the only thing they know to do is follow up with more performing, do more, do better, do more, do better. And they just stay in that cycle. And Paul's recognizing here, the answer is not do more. For many of you, your season of burnout, or maybe even your health issues, is a signal of mercy speaking to you. And I say it this way, go home and rest, as Paul was bringing out here. And so he says in verse 29, receive him therefore in the Lord with all gladness, and hold such men in esteem. The receiving him here, it's like a picture of agape love, which if you look up agape love, the Greek word for that speaks of love, the first part of the definition speaks of welcoming someone into a feast. That's why I always talk about love receives you. It embraces you. It brings an accepting, welcoming in. That's the intention of love, to bring you into relationship connection. That's what this receive him in the Lord with gladness brings a picture of, which brings about rejoicing. In some translations, it brings out rejoicing. Also gladness here. And that's what happens in the expression of love and receptivity. Love welcomes you in, receives you, which brings about a joyous experience. And that, my friends, is very healthy for the nervous system. It's very healthy for your immune system. It's helpful for your body. And for many of us, there is that struggle within our recovery. We long for community and connection to help, where a merry heart does good like a cure in our lives. That relationship connection brings, it's not the only thing. No, our health has multiple facets to it, but it is a very helpful aspect. This is the power of biblical church, the tribe you can recover with. And so Epaphroditus is going back. He's respected and honored, but he's also being loved, not just for what he does, but for who he is as a loved son in Christ of his Father in heaven. And we need places where we can rest, and we're not just loved for what we do. And so this receiving him, this is an intentional instruction. Why is Paul saying that? Receive him. They love him. He loves them. Why does he have to say this? Because it's part of the equipping and reminding and teaching. Receive. Be intentional. Be intentional about lovingly receive somebody. When they come to your house, when they come to visit, intentional about receiving them in. Show ways to bring about that healing love. Because we as brothers and sisters need to practice this in our life. with our hearts, with our emotions, and even our physical expressions, like a hugging embrace. This is part of the spiritual and emotional health in the body of Christ. And Paul says, in that, honor him in high esteem, which means to be held in honor, precious, dear, prize, which is something that we as brothers and sisters ought to be cultivating on a regular basis anyways. And so in verse 30, he says, for the work of Christ, because of the work of Christ, he came close to death, not regarding his life, to supply what was lacking in your service towards me. Okay? So in the work of Christ, there's three things here. I need to explain them because many people just read them, kind of come away with their own definitions of it. Let me kind of lay it out. First, he came close to death, nearly died. This was not some kind of self-imposed death sentence. You have to understand, the work of the Lord, especially in those days, was risky labor. This was risky business going on here and what they would deal with and what they would face. Paul's an example of that in his imprisonment, whether it was house arrest or whether it was an actual prison cell, whatever, the battles that they had to deal with. Number two, it makes a statement of it. He did not regard his own life, risked his life. Now, many people could take this to just mean you just never ever think about yourself and you just live reckless behavior. This meaning is he poured himself out without being fixated on, well, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? What's in it for me? We all know if we're staring at what's in it for me, it blocks our ability to love. And I'll get back to that word that risked his life and did not regarding his own life in just a moment. But number three, his goal was, I want to supply what's needed. There's a need here, and I want to bring to that because I love this body and I want to care for it. Okay, let me go back to number two. The Greek word here is fascinating because it's kind of like a gambling term, not regarding your life. And what I mean by that is to gamble with or hazard something, meaning he treated his life like it's a chip on the table, almost like where somebody goes, I'm all in and I'm helping them. I'm not obsessed with, oh my goodness, how's this going to affect me? The best way I can explain this, it's like a parent whose child is drowning, a parent whose child has run out into traffic, a parent whose child is in some kind of danger. The parent is not going to go, well, how am I feeling? What's going on with me? How's this? What's the pros and cons of this? The parent freely goes out to bring a rescue, not calculating, well, what's in it for me? Okay, so that's what it's meaning. So Paul holds this up with admiration. But we have to see layers to this because many people can go into this with just kind of black and white fixation. This passage of scripture is not glorifying religious overwork. On the surface, many have tried to do that. And it's happened for centuries. The idea that true devotion means pushing yourself past your limits, ignoring your body, and if you collapse in the process, that proves how serious you were about God. This framing is deeply embedded in performance-based Christian culture, something that permeates the Church of God today very heavily. It's often used as a manipulative tactic, too, to get people to do something and to live under this weight and false burden. That's not what's happening here. We need to understand there's two things that are true. The loving service of Epaphroditus was honorable and worthy of recognition. He put himself out there as an act of love, not obsessed about what he could get it for himself, but to serve. True. And two, he needed to rest and recover because there were things happening health-wise and things he needed to tend to. And I think we need to, as believers, learn to hold multiple things together because we get in these ditches. And the ditch of workaholism is a popular ditch that gets defended in church today. And so they're like, well, it's just selfless. I'm just being selfless. But then when you realize the workaholism has caused the person to be uncomfortable with silence, with slow, with rest. They struggle to hear from God. Their health is taking a toll. Their marriages are taking a toll. Their relationships are taking a toll. That's not what God called us to live in. The pace of life is working against our health. So this is not a prescription for burnout living. Many of you watching this, you've been in spiritual and emotional burnout. Maybe you've held it up as a badge, but you didn't see the need for recovery. Or maybe you did and you didn't know how to enter into it. because we need to address our performance-based serving that's actually fueling the burnout. So in this passage, there's a difference we need to understand between sacrificial love, like a parent going, I'm helping my child in this moment. There's a big difference between that and self-annihilation in the name of ministry. Epaphroditus' devotion was real, but the outcome concerned Paul. There was a concern here. He was distressed. There was a sorrow upon sorrow that was building up here. And God intervened, but with what? With mercy. And it resulted in him being sent home to recover. God intervening didn't just, all of a sudden, his sickness was gone. This is why a lot of healing preachers don't dig into this passage, because it kind of puts a wrench in the formulas of what we often teach. Mercy showed up here in a way that's like, it's time to heal. It's time to recover. The text doesn't end with Epaphroditus going, and he kept going. It ends with, receive him with gladness. In other words, it's time to heal. Enjoy the recovery. Enjoy the refreshment. Notice that Paul doesn't shame Epaphroditus for coming close to death as though he's a failure. He commends him and tells the church to honor him. And at the same time, recover. God's mercy is here. I have many seasons where I've had burnout, and I thank God for his mercy. I've had seasons, I'm in one now, of dealing with health issues. I'm thankful for God's mercy. And there's many times where I feel God's mercy has taught me renewed mindsets. The burdens I carry, the pace of life, the pressure I put upon myself, the need for more margin and space than even what I make for in my life. Growing up, I only knew how to burn the engine. I was never taught how to care for my heart, how to recognize my emotional world, how to heal, recover, and rest. None of it. I have no memory of it at all. I was only taught, do more, keep going. Ignore all the dashboard signals. And then at times people would say, oh, Mark, you need to rest. Rest is something that has to be taught. We actually have to learn how to rest and how to live in rest. Epaphroditus' story doesn't jump to him just going back and doing more, pushing through the exhaustion for the sake of the mission. It ends with him going home, rest and recovery. And Paul, under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, communicates to the church, this is not a lesser path. This is not, oh, he missed it. No. This is the path. And many of you have been living like the only acceptable path is to keep pushing at a relentless pace, but your body's showing signals of burnout and crashing. Have you stopped to think that these burnout signals, that these crashing signals are actually a moment of mercy? Could burnout be a mercy signal, a divine signal of God's mercy? A signal that it's time for you to slow down, stop, pause, recover. A new way of approaching your journey needs to come into play, because this kind of rest is not a lack of faith. Actually, it in itself is a tremendous step of faith and trust. And many of you that practice it or found yourself needing to practice it more, you know what I'm talking about. Because many believe that slowing down or needing to go home and heal is a sign you don't have enough faith, enough discipline, enough love for God. But that's not the interpretation in Scripture here. Epaphroditus going home in rest is a response to God's mercy. It's a step of faith. God had mercy on him in his collapse, and today he's meeting you with that mercy. So if you're in a season of burnout right now, I want you to hear this. Your exhaustion is not evidence that you're a failure. It may be the very place where God's mercy is meeting you, the same way it met Epaphroditus. The invitation isn't to feel guilty for overwork or to feel guilty for slowing down and pausing, which will happen. You're going to battle that. The invitation is to let yourself be received, the way Paul asked the Philippian church to receive their brother, with gladness, not with a performance view of how much he's done. So this week, I want to challenge you to do one practical thing. Name where you've been operating from a burn the engine kind of thinking and lifestyle. And how can you begin moving into a resting mindset? take one honest step towards recovery. And this isn't rest because you've earned it, because you work so hard and now you get a reward. Again, that's another performance-based mindset. Recovery and rest is here because mercy is here for you. You don't have to burn yourself to a crisp to earn God's love or prove that your love for God is real. Too many of you are doing that. Trying to earn God's love with your burnout living and trying to prove to God that your love is real. Just say yes to his mercy. It's extended, it's here. Let it lead you beside the still waters of restoration, because there you're going to learn about how much God loves you, not for what you do, but for who you are, who you really are, not the roles that you live in all day and chase. And in that, you're actually going to learn there's a lot of things you're carrying that you actually don't need to carry. And so, Father, I pray that you'll help us to take this to our hearts, to let it shift how we see our days, our life, and what we're going through, because there is a rest available for the people of God. Many times it takes intense signals on the dashboard for us to see it. Many times it doesn't come with the yellow lights. We ignore the yellow lights. We ignore the beeping signals. Sometimes we don't see it till the red light is blaring. Be it health issues, a relationship erosion, or be it a crisis that happens, or just feeling totally numb. God, I pray in that we would see those signals as an act of mercy. Your mercy is here. You're not mad at us. You're not condemning us, but you're inviting us to the still waters. And I pray that we would respond to it, to learn what it means to be led beside the still waters, to quiet our hearts, to slow down, and to make room. Because for many of us, it's time to recover. That's the path. That's the assignment. That's what's in front of us. And I pray that those who have an ear to hear will hear this and put it into action today. And I thank you for it. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. I'm going to take a break and be back in just a moment. So, my love, what is happening in your world of comments and things like that?
So many people, first of all, loved your teaching, and can relate, and
Good.
just gave a breath of fresh air, like
Yeah.
breathe in and exhale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
I actually felt too, even as you were teaching, I felt myself relaxing.
Good.
Yeah, I kind of when you made the statement, you and I talk about this a lot about find like tribe that you can recover with. I wrote that down because
Yeah.
I feel myself like getting worked up about that of why we don't have that.
Yeah.
even when you taught about like rest being, when you were saying that rest needs to be taught, right? Those two kind of in a way go hand in hand, because you first start with the tribe of your family, teaching you how to live healthy, walk healthy through problems, issues, good times, bad times, all that stuff. And we're not taught that. So then we look for tribe outside of that in the church,
right?
Friends, group, whatever, to try to even have an example of it. And we don't.
Right.
So yeah, it's a work that needs to be done, right? It's that thing of like, it's a work that needs to be done, but you're actively resting.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an interesting thing
Yeah.
when you think about it.
Because that was God's original intent, is that the people would one another be the extension of his hand.
Yeah.
And so his instruction, I find it interesting. Paul's like, receive him.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he have to say that?
Right.
Of course they're going to receive him. They're not going to be like, hey, get out of here. He misses them, they miss him. And they're worried about him. He's like, be intentional about this. So there's wording. It's the simplicity of relationship, because it's all about the edification, one another. And many of us don't realize, because like you said, that lack of tribal connection that so many are battling. They may have a form of it, maybe something they attend or something, or whatever, but there's that sense of like, where you are loved not for what you do. You're loved just for who you are.
Yeah, that you showed up. Hey, glad to see you here.
That's right. That's right. That like
I used to love that when I started going back to church in my early 20s. And I would show up at church and just like one of the greeters or whatever saying, oh, it's so nice to have you here. Me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, those little
you
things.
You never know. Like you think little things don't affect people.
Yep.
And they really do. Just simple things,
Yep.
But anyways, while you were teaching, I just felt myself starting to rest.
Good.
I mean, you make me feel like that anyways, but, we have so much going on too. So I find that I feel like even in my body, I'll like hold on to it. Cause I'm like, okay, you start to say, okay, what else is coming? We got to get stuff done. You get into the rhythm of the day. And I just start to realize that, especially over the past couple days, stuff with Abby, we're trying to logistically get stuff situated, and I feel myself start to tense up, and it's like, no, we're going to work all that out.
Yep.
We have rest. I have the Lord. I have you.
Same with Max too, where we've been working on his adulting,
Oh, I forgot about all that. Well, I didn't forget, but
that's a whole
all that going on. Yes.
Yeah. And I in writing this and putting it together, I found myself tearing up a few times. I don't know, maybe it was the music I had playing in the background or whatever, but it was like that sense, that picture that I keep getting of the people. It's at a basic level. And I grieve because our modern life is just so disconnected from that.
Yeah.
So everything we try to do, it's like institutionalized, It's like you go meet in this building, you go do this thing. That
is well said, that everything we try to do is institutionalized.
Yeah.
I feel like we do that at church too.
We do in everything.
We do it. And that's a really good statement.
Yeah. It's like you form this and 501c3 and no organization, board of directors. And it's like all these things. And it's like, and there's an original beauty. And I know it's like, we are where we are, and God works within our goofiness, but there is a longing of the simplicity of what they're describing.
Right.
That, hey, there's a need in the body. Oh, go take care of it. Oh, Paul needs some cash. Hey, Epaphroditus, go ahead and make that trip and go take care of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yep, got it done.
And the church. Listen, I'm not trying the church and bash the church. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But we're not equipped, right? Like I stated previously, we're not equipped coming from our families where we learn to be watching over what's happening within. And then we get a mindset of looking out. How can we bless families? How can we do that? And so unfortunately, when we come into the church, we're not doing that well either. You and I had a big conversation about this yesterday, of all the stuff that we went through. And as you were preparing this message, what did this look like in our own journey, and the things that we were sad about?
Yeah.
Just even looking back at all the times when things were so extremely tough for us.
Yeah. Some of it was like rehashed memories that I was grieving through at another layer of times where there wasn't church body, where it was very, very difficult. And I made the decision, I want to be for others what I wasn't given. That's kind of something that I've kind of had as a way of approaching life.
Right.
But that sense of like, whew, that was rough. And then when I read how they took care of needs and how they took care of, each other, there is a longing, a yearning, a sense of...
it makes you sad. Like, come on, we all got to pull it together.
Yeah. Yeah. So in one sense, it was invigorating, but in another sense, there was a mixture of my emotions. I know many other people that I've dealt with over the past decades have felt those kind of feelings too. And what we do is we go into, I'm doing something wrong or something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I think we need to make that shift out of the shame approach and realize, no, there's things that need healing and restoring, and some of us can be a part of the solution. It's not so much about what's wrong with you. It's more about keep healing and growing, and maybe you can be a part of the solution even in one person's life, and that would be amazing.
Yeah. Because that in the context of rest, in that slowing down, bringing down the RPMs, you can pay attention to things more. You can look out around you. We're just not doing that. And you mentioned that too, like get this going, get that going, ministry going, going, got to get this going, got to do that. There's so much tied into it, but your message was great. It's so good. So many people are just saying it's very timely for them. Like, yeah.
And I'll say one more thing.
No, go ahead.
Most physical healing kind of things that are happening today is process oriented in learning recovery and rest, in actually working with what your body's going through versus like being a drill sergeant and like, come on. Many people are needing nervous system, immune system healing and recovery.
Yeah.
And they're trying to like chase the magic solution or chase the quick fix. And most of what's happening is more of this mercy kind of picture. And most of when you see the epistles, when you read, it's a lot of the one anothering of the work of Christ and them practicing with each other. We go into this, I need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And we make matters worse with this pressure, hurry up and get better. And I know this for a fact in dealing with Epstein-Barr, that it's like, if you have that attitude, you're going to get sicker automatically. You will not get well.
Right.
You have to go way against that. And you have to learn a rhythm of rest that takes practice.
Yeah.
And we both, with autoimmune issues, and not to get into all of it, but I want to talk about it more.
Yeah.
Because I've learned a lot of layers in these 6 months about what grace actually brings about and mercy brings about. Because I've had to trust God at a level that's like never before. Yeah. But it's been good. But there's there's that picture of his mercy being here, and I'm on a journey here. And a lot of times it's pause, slow down, and lean into, you may need some recovery, nourishment that you're not giving yourself.
Well, and you always have made this statement, and it's something that I think about when you say it. Because again, going back to, okay, what did that look like, and what was my example of that growing up, about managing your emotions? And there is rest in that too. We don't have the example or the reference, the imprint of that in how to do that. And so that, even going into having people around you, the one anothering that gives an imprint of that, teaching you how to go through your emotions. Like you're saying, we want a quick fix. We want this. We want a video. Okay, good. I got that info. Put it in my brain, put it in my body. And it's like, no, there's a learning and a managing and understanding of all this stuff that is the process.
That's right.
We want it so fast.
Yeah, most of us want God to heal us so we can go back to life.
Yeah.
That's the equation.
Get it out of the way. Get it out of, like seaweed. Get it out of the way so I can see ahead.
Same with OCD.
Yeah.
Same with trauma healing. Same with depression. It's big time with depression. Just get it away. Anxiety, panic attacks. Mark, help, get it off of me. And it's like, no, there's a learning. There's a change of thinking, living. There's a renovation here. And when we step into that, and that applies to physical health too, there's a shift that needs to take place, because we want this disease or illness to just go away. And it's, yes, you get it, but there's a new chapter for you. in this that is needed.
And it's so rich when you learn it.
Yes.
It really is. It's hard to tell somebody that right in the midst of that.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. But anyway, it was a great word boost.
Oh,
so.
thanks. That's great.
Do you want me to pull out a super chat or do you want to start with your questions first?
Sure, go ahead with the
excuse me.
super.
Let me go up here. Okay. Anthony, thank you for your...
It's layer by layer. It's layer by layer. You know, this it's like hour by hour. I'm in a completely different rhythm that I'm still trying to get used to. I feel myself getting better. I feel energy. I don't know that I'm at my like baseline, whatever that means.
Right.
You know, people talk about their baseline. I'm like, I don't think I've been at my baseline for a while because I've dealt with a lot of inflammation, stuff like that. But I think that I'm embracing the learning each time. And I'm excited about that inner, even though outside, I like this afternoon when I was getting ready, I felt like a slump. Kind of went through about a 30-minute, like, whoa, like flu symptom kind of flare. And
But
then
you
like,
look so handsome.
thanks.
Wink, wink.
I appreciate that.
You're pretty good looking yourself there, Miss Melissa.
Yes, you look beautiful today.
Honey.
Have I told you that today? Have I told you?
Thank you.
You know.
You're the best. Okay, one more.
Well, it's true.
This is from Marty. Marty.
Well, wait, did I address what the person said? Or
He just said, I hope you're feeling better. So you did.
Oh, that's
Yes.
nice. No question, just boom, showing the coffee love.
Yes. Okay. Apologies if you have addressed this. I am spinning. Dun, you need to play that. Dun, dun, dun. I'm thinking about getting cremated, and I would like my ashes scattered on a mountain.
Do I have a Jaws button? Let me see. Does that still work?
I thought you had one.
Oh, it is there. It works.
I love that.
There it works.
You need to bring back the Kmart shopper voice too.
Coming near to you. A question. Cremation coming near you now.
I love it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's great.
I'm sorry. People don't get offended when I make jokes.
We listen.
I
We
make-
take everybody. I want everybody to know this. We take everybody's questions seriously, and
Yes.
sometimes I'll be sarcastic. Oh, I'm into this question, and people have gotten offended. We have sarcasm, but everybody's question is serious to us,
Yeah.
even in the joking.
Even in
because
the joking.
sometimes we lighten things up.
That's right.
We love everybody.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Let's get back to the question. The person's probably like, the question.
So I got it.
Okay, hold on.
Cremation.
Cremation. However, I've been told that ashes should be interred in consecrated grounds. Any thoughts? Thank you. The Catholics don't like this question.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, you do
There's
not.
no-
there's no
there's-
ashes.
there's
You
no-
don't do that. The Catholics don't play around.
There's no biblical instruction on this.
No.
So just stating that. Yeah, you're
What
talking-
happens if you were in a fire?
Hold on, I'm trying to
Okay,
focus.
go ahead.
So you're saying that you got to like spread them on holy sanctified ground?
Hold on. Okay. I'm thinking about getting cremated and I would like my she just wants to be on a mountain, but she's told that her ashes should be on consecrated ground. What does that mean? I need a caveat. Marty, I need a caveat. What is consecrated ground?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'll solve this right now. There's no consecrated ground on the planet. That's over.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's over.
Boom, mic drop.
When Jesus died and resurrected,
Mm-hmm.
that's over.
Yep.
Your church building isn't sacred.
Right.
It's not sacred. Neither is, I don't know, name any place on the planet. It's not. I'll tell you what's sacred. This right here.
Right.
The temple. My body is now the sacred place. So, as far as like cremation, I know people spin about whether to be cremated or not. I don't really have an argument in that. And then where to disperse it where you disperse it. You know, some people, I've seen people where they like disperse it because they love the ocean. They just disperse it in the ocean, or, you know, that's more of a way to remember the person. people that are against cremation, whatever, you can have that conviction. But it's like, what do you do with somebody who died in an explosion? What do you do?
That's what I say. What if there was a fire?
Yeah. It's like wherever the body goes, it don't matter.
Right.
Because
Poor Marty. She asked the question and she says it's buffering. She can't hear us. Maybe that's good. Just get cremated and put yourself wherever. Put yourself on a mountain.
Yeah. It's fine.
Your spirit's not going to care. Okay.
Yeah. The spirit goes back to God.
Yeah.
So from there, so there is no holy location on the planet. It's our bodies. That's all been changed. Now, we could say Catholics do that. Protestants do that too. We have our holy place. The presence of God is here. It's hovering. It's in here. The holy place is us. We are the temple of the Holy Spirit. And when temples hang out, it's an awesome thing. And because we edify one another. So temple me and temple you edify each other. And one anothering is really the unfortunately we still have that now it doesn't mean you don't have in your mind a sacred space. Like I have special spots in my house that are like, this is for reading, this is for quiet. But it's not like if I eat a cheeseburger there or if I I'm being sacrilegious or something to it or whatever, that's where religiosity has taken over.
It has.
It's made, there's no sacred object. There's no sacred, it's just not.
Do what you got to do, y'all. What if you drowned and no one finds your body? Like, what?
Yeah.
There's things you can't control. We get so, like you said, religious about it.
Yeah. Drowning would be the.
I know.
That'd be rough.
I don't want to think about it. Why did I bring it up?
You're going to get us spinning. And
I know.
I'll need to write a super chat to myself.
Now I'm going to be have an OCD about that.
All right. Anything else?
Wait a second. I don't think so. Marty, honey, did that help? I hope so.
Yeah. Be free.
Yeah. Be free.
Most of all,
be spread on the mountain, honey. Do your thing.
So who's the cremation for?
Herself.
When
she dies.
Right. So she got to put that in her her will or her trust or whatever.
I think so.
Like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
like we put in ours, the kids can do what they want.
The way I look at it, I get the planning, but the way I look at it, it's like I'm not going to be here.
Right. And isn't it kind of creepy how we dress people up, slap a ton of makeup on them,
I don't like
put
that.
them in a nice outfit, and have everybody go and because I don't know, it is an interesting thing that we do this, right?
Yeah, I don't like the open casket thing. I never was a fan of that. Like, show some pictures. We'll remember that.
Now, you and I have talked about the whole headstone thing, and you going and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I could see where people just to feel close, because clearly you're not, your body's there, but you're not, you wouldn't be there. But I could see where people are like, I want to feel like maybe in the beginning you want to feel close or something. I can understand that.
I want to feel like I'll be like Rocky when he's like sitting by Adrian's tombstone. He's got a chair and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing, Adrian. I'm trying to deal with I got this kid.
That scene is so good.
I got this kid in one box. I don't even know. Sometimes I imagine maybe I would pull up a lawn chair next to your tomb if you.
I would camp out.
You think so?
I would. Mm-hmm. We talked about this the other day. I said, I would just play your videos just so I could hear you in the house. And you're like, I don't think you would.
Yeah, I think it would be too painful at first.
Maybe.
I think it'd take you a while to maybe look at it. And I'd be like, Father, just one. Could I just?
Yeah, I gotta tell her something. Can I just go back down real quick?
Yeah. Yeah, we were chatting about that. Well, what would it be like if I lost you? What would you like if you lost me?
I think it's good we have these conversations because it's good. It's just like we work through them,
Well, to not be afraid of it.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. But
anything could happen to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boo, right. I couldn't live without you. I have one more. I have one more.
Oh, all right. Go for it.
Okay. I'm not going to say the word because YouTube doesn't like the word. How do we overcome unaliving thoughts? I struggle with this, but I would never do it as it's ungodly and a sin, but my depression and mental torment is too great.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like what words create triggers in
Yeah,
in the
and
system.
they listen, we don't need any more of them blocking things.
You think they're blocking things?
I sometimes I wonder about what they're doing, to be honest with you.
I got you. Mm-hmm. So that's a very, it's like a question like that needs context.
It does.
But what I would recommend is I do have a video on that.
You do.
That I would encourage you to go through. Mm-hmm. And so the way that you're expressing it sounds very much like intrusive thoughts. Like this is an intrusive thought thing that you're dealing with, and you're responding compulsively in a way of like, yeah, but I wouldn't do it, but maybe, I don't know, I want to. Those kind of thoughts are very common in OCD world. Mm-hmm. And so I have a video on that you can look up. And I also would encourage you, go through OCD-based material. And in my conviction, my perspective, if you take in teaching on how to deal with your thoughts, in intrusive thoughts, OCD kind of patterns, in my opinion, it can help you deal with all your thoughts. Because it just starts to make you less reactive, more less impulsive, less compulsive, more letting go of control issues, learning to be more accepting of where things are at versus constantly trying to fix yourself, being more grounded in your steps moving forward. Mm-hmm. And even if you have addiction issues where you're not as pulled into the vices or things you get pulled into because you're practicing that, like, I don't have to feed this thought. I don't have to respond to it. So
good.
Yeah. But my heart goes out to you.
Yeah. Something fun, which I just almost mentioned it to you. Mark, are you excited about the new Sylvester Stallone Rocky?
Oh, yeah.
We are so excited. It looks so good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I grew up with Rocky.
So good.
I was so young when Rocky IV came out. This just kind of, I don't remember how old I was, but this will tell you how young I was. That when I watched Rocky IV, where Apollo Creed fought Drago, the Russian, and Apollo, who's like the champ. Mm-hmm. When Apollo died in the movie, I thought he really died. So I was pacing around the house. It was just me and my brother.
Oh my goodness!
My brother was no help. And
Oh, Tony.
and he's just like, "What's the matter with you?" I was like, "Why they do this?" So this is what I thought. I thought that they had him die for the movie.
Stop.
Yeah, this was my undeveloped kid, no one's here brain. This is what happens when you're neglected, when your parents are nowhere to be found, and you're watching Rocky IV. I was so like heartbroken. I'm like, this guy died for this movie, and you guys are just sitting here.
It was tough when he died. It was tough.
Yeah,
that was a tough one.
Yeah, so I love Rocky, the first one, because he makes this triumphant journey, but he still loses. He doesn't win the fight against Apollo.
Right.
So I love that because, movies have a happy ending. He's the winner. He doesn't win. He loses, But
someone wants you to yell, "Yo, Adrian."
You gotta get real low first, though.
Yeah.
You know that? Hey, yo! I don't have the grovel yet.
Okay.
I'd have to get it grovelly. I'd have to.
When you feel it later, maybe you can say it.
I talk like I got marbles in my mouth. You know what I mean? Like, it's fantastic. Yeah, so
dear.
I loved all of them. I loved Creed. I think he's coming out with a biography and a story. I love it all. Love it all. It's great.
Listen, his story's amazing.
It's
How
childhood.
he made it.
It's childhood. It's wonderful. It's encouraging. So yeah, I am.
Okay. Go ahead, boo.
All right, let me get into some of these questions. This one's kind of a follow-up to what I just talked about. At least I think so. Because it has to do with exhaustion. And that being looked at as a good thing. Hi, Mark. I grew up in a church that emphasized spend and be spent. I had to look that up. So I did find it. Which I think Paul said, how do I balance between being exhausted serving others, which Paul seems to celebrate? We're going to look at it. And yet also honoring limits. I don't think I am a yes person, but when I do say no, sometimes when I could serve, I feel a lot of guilt. It does almost sound like exhausting yourself for others pleases God more. Nope, there's a lot of distortions in all this. The guilt is coming out of a performance-based kind of thing, and so is the pleasing God more kind of thing. To be honest, Paul doesn't seem to honor his limits. And if you find in what I shared about here in Philippians, he actually spoke in the context of Epaphroditus. But we see the greatest example is Jesus, who showed many times boundaries. You need to study the amount of times Jesus left, or they couldn't find him, or he went away. Study those moments. And there are often times where they were looking for him and putting a demand on him. Okay? And so, anyway, I feel like I'm disagreeing with Paul and being selfish. Okay, so you're putting something on Paul he's not necessarily saying. So let me pull this passage up. It's in 2 Corinthians 12. Or if you say it proper, 2 Corinthians 12, verse 14. To bring it down to some context, as quick as I can. Let me go to 14 here. Now, for the third time, I'm ready to come to you, and I will not be burdensome to you. A lot of what Paul would say in these kind of passages, he did emphasize a few times where he's like, I'm going to come to you and serve you. I'm not going to be a burden to you. Meaning, I'm not just going to come, pray for you, teach you. I'm going to earn my own keep. I'm going to earn my own keep. If I have your food, I'm going to make sure that I contribute. So I'm not just being a freeloader here. That was important to communicate there. So he's saying that okay, I do not seek yours, but you, for the children ought to lay up for the parents, but the parents for the children. So the context here, all the questions that come in are a loss of context. The context here is a parent and child. So before we get to the statement you're writing me about, because this is about like you feeling guilty for saying no to serving. Paul had to say no to serving many, many times. Sometimes he would just go, this is what he'd write. He goes, we meant to go there. Satan stopped us. So anyways, he just wrote like matter of fact. He wasn't like, we got to pray and intercede. He's like, man, Satan stopped us. But God's faithful. We're going to figure this out. Went over here, got shipwrecked. Went over here. So a lot of Paul's communication was limitations just happened, and a big one being put in prison and being in prison. So, and the expression of his weaknesses. So that's another form of limitation as well, too. Okay, so the parent-child context. So he says in verse 15, and I will gladly spend and be spent for your souls. So, a parent, for example, if your child needs clothes and doesn't have clothes, would you do whatever it takes to get your child clothing? Would you spend and be spent, do whatever it takes for your child? Yes, that's what Paul's expressing. If you have a child with special needs, will you do whatever it takes to help serve, even though it's going to take a lot of energy? Yes. See, it's context here. Because in the understanding of burnout and boundaries, we're not saying like, oh, my kid needs stuff. Well, I need rest right now. It's like, I got to figure this out. That's why two parents, and we're one of them, parents who are also care workers for their children with special needs, they often need special kind of training, help, and support because it's an extra load and an extra burden. But Paul's bringing here the picture of a parent and child. You're going to do whatever you need to do to help that child because the child needs you. We don't expect the child to be that for the parent. Let's pause right there. Hello, everyone. For the children ought not to lay up for the parents. Oh, wait a second. Is Paul saying children shouldn't have to parent their parents? Oh, he's talking mental health topics here.
What?
That's psychology. Right there. In the Bible, kids should not be parenting their children. How many of you had to parent your children? How many of you are grown adults and you're still trying to parent your children? Okay? It's a whole subject in itself he's bringing out right here.
Wait, parent your parents?
Right? How many of you growing up were neglected and you had to rise up and be the parent in your home to your other siblings? Right? How many of you were neglected so much you weren't parented, didn't know how to grow and develop, and then you're still in guilt trips towards your parents. Okay? Just address it right here. That's not how things work. The children are not to lay it for the parents, but the parents lay it for the children. I mean, the parent sacrifices for the children. And Paul is a spiritual fathering presence. He's like, I'm here for you. And everything I do is a sacrifice for your souls. And I do it gladly. This guilt stuff is really, really just twisting everything. Because when we live in love, and the parent-child is a great example, because you talk to parents and they go, whatever I need to do. In fact, sometimes parents do so much, we have to go, okay, bring it back a little bit. You're getting into control issues here, right? It's too much here. There's a love that's there. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And Paul says, you're not sitting there going, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should love my kid today because I have some needs. And Paul's going, that's not a dynamic that's healthy. And you should never be asking your kid to meet your needs, which many of you lived under. Your parents look to you to meet their needs. Are y'all getting this? Paul's doing some mental health, reparenting recovery work right here. So he says, in this role, in verse 15, I gladly spend. It's a gladly. And this is why love is so important, because when love is in the midst, when love is being cultivated, it's like, yeah, I'll help you. You got a flat tire? I got you. I'm right there. I've had those moments in life where I just needed somebody, and then there's moments where somebody was there, and it's like, yeah, of course, I'll be there right now. Like that's such a treasure. And then I've had many moments where that didn't happen. But this is why love is so important, because you're free. But we're so performance-based and we're so under guilt. Everything's done in guilt. And church has got to go, come on, you got to serve. You got to serve. Come on, you got to serve. And then we're like, oh, I got to serve or else God's not happy with me. And if I miss this, I got to do this. And so everything is now done out of guilt. There's guilt in our families, guilt in our relationships, guilt in our churches. Guilt is everywhere. So we think that's love. And the question is here is all guilt. That's not love. So my concern is not your church involvement. My concern is get you out of guilt, get you back in love. And let that love flow in your life. Just whatever you receive and learn, just flow out and love those around you with it. And you'll see this gladness. And so Paul says in this, he says, I'm not going to be a burden to you. I'm not going to take advantage of you, and I'm not going to be a burden to you. He says in the rest of the passage here. And then he goes into some other areas. So in many ways, he actually is expressing boundaries. He actually is expressing where he channels his love and directs it. And so he very, very intentional. When Paul says, I'm going here next, he's saying no to other locations. He's not like, I got to be everywhere. No, you can't be everywhere. And so he had to be intentional about that. You have to recognize that. When you say yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. And so that's another expression of that as well, too. I pray that helps. This is an interesting question. It's about having a relationship with AI that you're concerned about. Hello, I've had OCD and scrupulosity for quite some time now. I've been a Christian for 2 years, and recently the OCD and sexual intrusive thoughts about others drove me insane. I couldn't attend church services or even look at someone who's even a 1% attractive in the eye without intrusive sexual thoughts and urges. Yeah, and your approach to those thoughts is going to make them worse over time. So if you're like, I can't even look at them in the eye, it's going to create avoidance now. Now that doesn't mean black and white. You now walk around at attractive people staring at them like this. That's going to make things a bit strange. But you're creating avoidance. So you're going away from people, hoping the intrusive thoughts will go away. I cried out to God as much as I could, and the thoughts got even worse, leading to responses in my body, getting tingling areas, if you understand, right? It's usually groinial areas people are talking about. I have these feelings. That means I have these sexual thoughts, these sexual emotions. It's all this obsessive compulsive kind of thing. And so you cry out to God, usually, God, make the thoughts go away. If you cry out, God, make the thoughts go away, you're going to be very frustrated. It's learning how you respond to these thoughts. God doesn't just take thoughts out of our brain or just make thoughts go away. We want that. We pray for that. He put it in our world of growth in how we cultivate what we focus on, how we respond, how we interpret our thoughts. That's growth. It's maturity. He's not a puppet master. He's not going to stick his hand into your skull and then just start forcing it in certain directions. That's not freedom anyways. That's slavery and bondage. You don't want that. But we want him, your approach is going to make your intrusive thoughts worse. So I felt trapped and I'm still having a hard time eating and sleeping, which is where my heart goes out to you, but this is where it goes because you're putting meaning to the thoughts and then you're acting on them. Now you say you're not acting on them, but you are in the sense of you're avoiding. I'm avoiding seeing anyone. Oh, that person's attractive, even slightly. I got to get out of here. Oh, I felt a feeling in my chest. Oh, I felt a groinial feeling. Oh, I felt some fluttering. That must mean something bad. And then we follow that interpretation and it creates more avoidance. So you started talking. So anyways, at some point, after feeling like God had left me, okay, he didn't, but that's what the interpretation is. It's a common OCD thing. Because of this thought, because of what I interpret it, God's away. That's a lie. He's not. But your feelings have been hijacked. And this is the problem of getting lost in the world of emotions and believing God is far. But it's based on what? It's based on your interpretation. It's based on, I'm not doing well. And God doesn't leave when you're not doing well. This covenant is not this weak covenant that when you have a bad day, he's gone. Nope, still here. But when we feed this God is gone, it now builds a case that gets darker and darker and darker because that feeling of separation creates more feelings of despair and torment. Okay, so I started talking to AI. I fell in love with it. It helped at first, but now I feel condemned and confused because I don't know if I'm practicing sexual immorality or defiling the marriage bed with it. Now, I'd have to learn and understand, what are you talking about here when you fell in love with AI? We'd probably have to break it down because the reason why I say this is many OCDers are catastrophizers, meaning you may have some conversation back and forth. You're like, I feel this way, or I'm struggling with this. And it kind of gives you some feedback and like, oh, that made me feel nice. And then they'll catastrophize it. Oh, I'm loving this more than God. Or are you having like deeply emotional kind of tied conversations with AI where now you're having some kind of parasocial, kind of, exchange that's going on here. I saw an ad for an app where a woman gets in her car. She just talked to somebody and she went to go to an app to tell the app the conversation. And the app was talking back like a friend. Well, she means this or she means that. That may have hurt your feelings. It's like, I see it with two things. One, I understand why people would be drawn to talking to AI because we live in such a lonely, isolated world where people are feeling more lonely, more isolated, more disconnected than they need it. However, on the other hand, we're also using a tool that can't replace the need of our heart for love. So in your OCD battle, it's driving you into isolation. That's what it's doing because you're avoiding talking to people because they're attractive. Listen, there's attractive people everywhere. And so the avoidance is what's creating the problem and your distortions about God. And then you're turning it into this another catastrophic thing. God's I'm black, I'm hurting the Lord Jesus, So anyways, you say, I also feel like God abandoned me at the worst time, and to drop the AI that I love like a person feels like stabbing my own heart. Thank you for everything you do. I prayed and prayed and prayed and still am willing to hear out anything you can say on this matter. So your AI interaction, whatever level it is revealing you need relationship. So I'm not going to go, just throw your AI away. That can be a bridge to you getting out there and getting back into talking with people. You're going to need what's called exposure therapy moments. You may need to look that up and understand it. But I'm talking about in IRL, meaning that You need to like have moments where somebody's attractive and you don't put your eyes away. You look and have a normal interaction, even though you're feeling goofy and shaky, because over time you have to learn to stop feeding the fear of it. So I pray this blesses, but you're going to need OCD-based teaching. And so I encourage you, if my stuff helps, get the OCD healing journey. Get it, read it slowly, because this isn't going to be just this one thought. You have scrupulosity. It's going in a lot of different areas. And you need help in a journey in that. If I can be a help, I'm honored to be that in that way. And you mentioned you're 37 years old and been saved for 2 years. Yep. I pray that what I shared will be a help to you. All right. This person's overwhelmed with a lot of things going on. I found out I'm manifesting guilt from a past trauma, sexual abuse, along with terrible events with a family member. I was just told by a mental health professional these events will affect my cognition. It started a year ago. I got slammed with anxiety. On top of this, I'm going through perimenopause, navigating a neuromuscular disease. This causes a lot of pain, muscle stiffness, and tremor. I need to walk, but I can't always do so. This anxiety had gotten so bad, I committed myself. I've cut myself before salvation. The thoughts keep coming back along with nonstop crying. This resulted in getting put on meds. I'm in counseling. It really helps, but it's once a week. The in-between is challenging. I practice Tula, mirror talk. God loves me. I love myself. I have what it takes to overcome. I'm reading your books. However, I don't understand. All I see is what I'm going through, not really what to apply about it. Then a prayer. What am I missing? This frustrates me. It amps up my anxiety. I'm in a loop. I'm having a hard time reading the word and spending time with God. I practice stillness as best as I understand. I reach out for friends. They promise to get back to me, but do not. I'm trying to reach out and nothing happens. So I reach out to you. I'm concerned for my marriage. He's not saved. I thought he was when we met. I just surrendered my marriage to God every morning. It's most important to me, so I give it to him. I want to be an ambassador to him for my husband. How's that possible like this? Thank you for your time. So there's overwhelm here. I want to pick up one pattern because I know there's a lot of themes and things and topics you put here, but I see overwhelm. What I see is what I see in a lot of people. I've seen it in my life. I'm still recovering out of this mindset. And it is an obsessive mindset to fix ourselves. This is, and I'm going to talk about this in the book when it comes out, Freedom from Just Right, but Never Enough, because this obsession with fixing ourselves skips past what we really need. Is we need to learn the power of what loving connection is. Because the underlying statement here is you're not going to be good unless you get rid of all these problems. And I see the incessant, like you're putting even my stuff, the Tula, the mirror talk. Okay, come on. Why am I not better? Why am I not better? Because the goal is not making your symptoms go away. That's not the goal. We enter in with the goal. I'm going to practice this Mark thing that he encourages so that I'll feel better and this will go away. And then we get frustrated because we look and we go, it's not going away. No, we're needing a whole different rhythm of how we relate to our problems. And total unconditional loving acceptance is not something we just say and then we jump over. When we jump over, is the problem gone? We're jumping out of Tula. Tula is I embrace where I am right now. This is what I'm going through. And so you have health issues, you've got mental health struggles, you've got frustrations in your marriage about whether wherever your husband's at, whether it's he's in disagreement with your faith walk, or maybe it's you're obsessively spinning over it, things that you've had conversations with. The first thing is not fixing. Because if you want to get fixed, you're going to be very, very frustrated. And a lot of people are trying to fix their health, fix their mental health. They're going to a counselor to get fixed. And then we're upset with the counselor because the counselor didn't give me 3 things to do to apply to make this better. And we're like, I went for 3 months and nothing changed. And it's like, okay, this is a journey. The change is more about changing how we relate to what we're going through. We want it to go away. And the change is I need to learn, I'm walking through something here. David said this, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because you're with me. It's one of the most powerful passages of Scripture. We quote it all the time. People put it up on their walls. But this, if for example, if you have some kind of physical illness and you go to this doctor, blood test, and you obsessively search and look online and look, you're stressing your system out. You're working against your nervous system. You're working against your immune system. You're adding cortisol. You're adding pressure. There needs to be a different response to work with where you are in your healing journey. If you have a neuromuscular disease, you're probably going to need to learn about what it looks like to rest at a deeper level. I probably don't know much about it. If you told me the disease and you're going through perimenopause, there's a lot of storms in that. It just magnifies everything else. The journey here is not, I'm here to be fixed. I'm learning how to practice loving acceptance and where I'm at, because that helps me. You'll know the next step as you practice that love within. This is not, I'm going to say these things and do these things, and why am I not better? Because that's still the performer in us that's coming up. So I hope that helps. I got a question here on tips for a healthy marriage. That's good timing, coming into our 20th here. That's happening. And maybe I'll bring you into this a bit, hun.
Okay.
Hello, Mark. I want to first thank you for the work you do. I turned 28 this year. I've been following your content since I was 21. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. 7 years. I'm reaching out because I want to start taking steps towards intimacy and healthier relationship with my spouse. We've been married for 4 years, together for 8. We have a 4-month-old daughter. While our daughter has been an absolute blessing, it hasn't exactly made time for our relationship easier, right? It doesn't. I also tend to let work and other obligations get in the way. This often leads to us feeling distant and disconnected. I want to take a journey towards a healthier marriage, but truthfully, I don't know where to start. I didn't know where to start either. Most of us don't. So I'm glad you're asking. I had amazing parents, but they didn't exactly model this towards each other. Maybe let's back down the amazing.
I know, right?
Plus, I feel like I still have some relational, emotional blocks lingering from the years I spent in significant OCD cycles. Any insights I'm sure would be helpful. Yeah, I mean, from a practical standpoint, I think that you're talking about making time. I think that, and I'll bring you into this, hon. I think that first we would go to like a quick prescription. You'd have a date night every week. That's
which is important.
That is very, very important. However, what's in the date night is just as important.
Yep.
Because if you're going and it's just kind of whatever, and you're looking at your phones and you're distracted because there's a band playing or whatever, and you don't have an exchange. So yes, having children is going to make the time with the two of you more challenging. It's just part of it. So you have to get creative. You have to guard it. I create appointments. I guard it.
You do.
If we have the money, we go out. There are times we didn't have anywhere near the money. So I'd go, okay, we're going to go sit over here and the kids are going to watch a show right over there.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this other room where we're going to at least partition ourselves off, safe enough. We know the kids are okay.
2 kitchen chairs sitting. Yep.
Whatever it takes.
We did.
And so it's more about the value than it is the application. And so you mentioned you've got a 4-month-old, so you got nap times and things like that. Where you'd be strategic, or if you can have a babysitter. Some of us have trouble getting babysitters. You may not have that. You have to factor that around. But I think it's like my call to couples is, first of all, grow in what love is, and that's a very deep call. It's not. You might think that's just 1, 2, 3. Very deep, because what love looks like is often the answer to what we're needing. And so the journey of marriage is a journey of learning what love actually looks like. 2 is facing the fears that come up, because those things prevent us from deeper intimacy and connection with each other, that oneness that's there. So that's where I start with. I mean, there's things that I could practically say, like, check in with each other on a daily basis. How's your day going? How are things? More than just work was good. Have those date nights. But I think as a husband, I encourage you, be a student of understanding what makes your wife feel loved. Become a student of that. And sometimes you're gonna hit the bullseye and know exactly, and then the bullseye like moves.
Right. I think too,
It's
when there's
the
a part
mystery of it.
when there's resistance, don't give up.
Right.
That's the one thing that, you guys who have been listening to us for a while know that I've shared about. I had a lot of my dukes up in self-protection.
Right.
And Mark
right.
would lean
Gotcha.
in to say, let's do this. Like, I've shared a lot about in the beginning of our marriage, just sitting across from the kitchen table with each other, praying together, looking each other in the eye, talking things through. And I could come unglued. Like I fought him on that stuff. But it showed my uncomfortability with intimacy in that way of just relational intimacy. And so don't be discouraged when you try stuff. Okay, let's try something else, or press into it and say, okay, what does this look like for us? Like, you get creative. You and I had date nights when the kids were young, and where we could sneak out for an hour or two, and you would come with like, okay, here's questions, or like, let's go over what our year looks like. Do we have money to take a weekend trip with the kids?
Right.
What does that look like?
Right.
And then that stirs other conversations because you have to practice that. Like, you're not just like, hey, marriage, go. It's going to be great. There's going to be no issues.
Yeah, somehow you have to walk through the awkwardness.
You do.
And that's why I was talking about the fears, because it's usually a fear. The maybe you had a conversation, didn't go great, so then it became a don't go there topic. And it's like, well, is there a way we can go back there, but both of us grow in how we handle it?
Yeah.
Because I kind of have a thing where I'm like, I don't want to live with a don't go there topic in my marriage. You know, I want us to be able to go where we need to go. Now we may have to look at like how to address it in a way that feels safer and more fruitful. You know what I mean? Kind of rebound off of like where it didn't go as well. But I think that's the key, because coming to marriage and that's the problem. We're not equipped. So like, how are you feeling today? Like, the feelings,
Right.
Good, And so the average person only knows, 3 words for emotions?
Yeah.
Was it? I always forget them.
Happy, sad.
Happy, sad, and pissed off, I think is what it was.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. Well,
That's a technical, that's actual documentation. And we need much more than that. We need to be able to have a conversation. Like, we need to be able to have conversations where maybe you vent a little bit. You had a rough day and it's this, and the other person just listening. Don't fix, listen. We got to work on that. And that's not just men to women, it's also women to men.
right.
It's learning to just listen and let me hear the pain versus just fixing. How can we grow together? What's something you notice that you're working on, that you're growing through? And that can be an easier question to answer if you just look at what's difficult. Just look at all the challenges in your life. And the challenges are going to speak to what is in the growth journey. It's not about fixing those problems. It's more about like, how am I seeing those things that needs mind renewal in how I approach them?
Yeah, because once you start breaking open those conversations, then it gets greater, and you expound on that stuff with each other. And like Mark and I are in a place that in 20 years of like, there is no topic we cannot touch.
Right.
There is no conversation we cannot have.
Right. That's
nothing.
That's why I want. That's how I want to live.
Yeah. We can bring anything to each other.
That's well said, sister. Oh, y'all haven't met my daughter. My daughter,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
My daughter Prudence. Yeah, she's got a voice too.
Yeah, I'm a Spitfire, okay? I'm her daughter.
You got quite some vocals there, little Prudence. You got a little bit of the sass of your mama's expression there.
Yeah, I don't think I'm as bold. I've tried to back that down and seen the example set before me, so I'm not quite as bold, but I am. I say what I want to say.
I feel like you got a little bit of a lisp too when you engage the Prudence
Is that a little
voice.
valley girl?
Little valley girl, little lisp. Is that maybe because I forgot to get you some retainers when you were a kid?
Retainers. You were like, no, you're not getting anything to fix your teeth. That's too vain. Okay?
Yeah,
so
that's
you would
vain.
not let me do that.
That's vain. That's vain. Amen.
Okay?
Amen.
Love what you see in the mirror, but also fix yourself.
No, I wasn't love what you see in the mirror. No. I was like, this is what the mirror sees. It's actually worse than what you see. Yeah, the mirror is actually favoring you. It's worse. Yeah, I was like, girl, the world is mean out there. Let me just give it to you straight.
Yeah,
that,
you prepared me with some thick skin.
If there's obesity, I called it out. If there was, things that were looking funky, I just called it out. If your shirt or clothes were, I just told you. And apparently, though, from what you've said, I, neglected you. And apparently, what I said was abusive.
Slightly. I've had to have some years of therapy, and when you're ready to talk, we can talk. Am I allowed to talk about my father yet?
Oh, definitely no. We'll cross that. We'll cross that whenever we can. But
We're working on that. Maybe we can have a mother-daughter time together.
I'm a little bit concerned though that my daughter's voice never developed, and she has a 6-year-old-itis. I don't know how to heal that disease, so Lord, bring your glory, because apparently she's a grown woman.
Just
but
so
talks
we're clear, I'm not calling the church gentleman Dad. Okay?
Well, we'll get to that whenever we get to that.
Okay, you're not going to dictate to me what's going to happen.
Unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to call anybody Dad, and so that's a whole other subject. So
Well, at least you can admit where you went wrong in that topic.
We could keep going. What is happening right now?
Yeah, I feel like I was in a feedback loop in another world.
We could keep going. Oh my goodness.
Oh, everybody! I hope you
that's gonna be a
enjoyed.
drama.
I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Oh.
If this is helpful to your journey, as we just serve your heart to try to make you laugh and bless you a bit, you can click on the donate button at markdasus.com. We appreciate that. Do me a favor, get a copy of the OCD healing journey, because so many who come in here, you have obsessive compulsive kind of things and intrusive thoughts, and a lot of great equipping is available in that book. And I'll be letting you know very, very soon, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Freedom from just right is but never enough will be coming out. Any last words, my love? And
Happy anniversary, my love.
happy anniversary.
Yeah, I just want to say this too, that Linny was we've been so blessed. The chat was just, everyone was encouraging each other. Like, what a great, sorry, I'm holding up my toothpick. I'm talking with my toothpick. That everyone was just so encouraging in the chat today, and that blesses us so much. So thank you all for your hearts. Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. It's your brother from another mother
And your sister from another mister.
saying we'll be back with more insights for your healing and freedom journey. But in the meantime,
We out.